It's nice to meet you. I'm a traveling salesman, and I wonder if I might. I have samples. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you for letting me into your home. Just give me a second here to be respectful of your house. Hopefully my hair doesn't look too horrid, but I guess that's for you to know and me to find out later. Now, yes. Oh, yes. The free samples are yours. In fact, we'll go over those first, but I need to get a few things out of here first off, so. First are our tester sample strips, and of course the fragrances that we're going to be testing as well. And I have prepared for you some of our finest. Of that, you can be sure. Wonderful. A good start. Yes, well, thank you for inviting me in today. I'm from a shop called Emporium, and we deal in wonderful men's, women's, and unisex fragrances, and I'm just trying to find some individuals who want to improve their game, smell better, impress people, and more than anything else, be confident and find your signature scent. What do you say? Does that sound like you? Fantastic. It rarely is not. So, shall we look at some of the samples? Of course, these are yours, and we have a couple different ways of finding your signature scent, the scent that you wear every day. And when people smell, they know it's yours, and they know it's you. So, we have a couple different ways of doing this. Our first way that you already saw was our tiny decant. Little sprays, good for about 10 or 15, though I never would recommend spraying 15 times unless you want the ozone layer to collapse around you and birds drop from the sky. And then we have our full-size fragrances. And these full-size fragrances are and things that we call testers. And a tester is just a fragrance without a lot of the souped up stuff. Oftentimes they come with no cap, but the best part about a tester is that they come with the notes right on the back. So we have our tiny decants, and then we have some testers. And as we go through this process, we'll talk about some of the fragrances, talk about what makes a fragrance good, all on the path in pursuit of finding yours. Does that sound good? Wonderful. Well, let's just start. These decants we get right from the factory, cellars, manufacturers. In fragrance world, we call them houses. So let's say, for instance, they come from the Versace is the maker of the fragrance. We would say from the house of Versace. And this is the first one that I have to show you. This is called Citizen Jack. And this particular fragrance is made by Michael Mullo, as you can see there. And then what makes these things really cool as well is you open them up, and typically they also have the notes and maybe even a little bit of a backstory. Some of these decants also have coupons, which of course we honor as well. You come to Scents Emporium. You take out the fragrance, and as you can see, it's quite small, but only designed for a couple of uses. Now this Citizen Jack, the top notes, mid notes, and base notes. Every fragrance is going to have a top, a middle, and a base. What that means is that fragrances, they evolve. When you spray them, you're going to get a lot of that top note. A lot of times, these top notes are fruity, citrusy, and sweet. A lot of times, the middle notes are going to be floral or something else that changes it, but also complements the top. Now, the thing about the top note is that the top note often dissipates. So that first reaction you have to a fragrance, and that thing that, well, you might love about that fragrance right off the get-go, it might not be there by the time you get to a dry down. But what will be there is something called the base notes. And the base notes might not even be apparent to you when you first spray it, but they are the thing that grounds the entire fragrance. Now, popular base notes, musk, patchouli, woodsiness, and vanilla are very popular as well. So, that is a bit of the evolution of the fragrance. And you want that. You want the fragrance to move and change. It's part of the experience. And sometimes you'll find fragrances that don't. And you call those fragrances linear. Or, I guess if you want to be overly harsh, boring. But there's a couple different ways that we test out fragrances. A little bit like wine tasting. If you were to taste the wine, and I definitely don't recommend tasting the fragrance, sometimes I have to say that. If you were to taste the wine and swallow on every one, you'd become very drunk. Kind of a similar thought process with testing fragrances. If you were to spray all of them on your skin, you would not be able to differentiate them. They would all kind of blur together. So that's why we have these. These right here are linen testing strips. They maintain and they hold that fragrance. So you can also write down the name of the fragrance. And so you can compare them all when you come back. And that way we can test as many as we want. Now, the only caveat is that sometimes fragrances do dry differently on your skin. And an even bigger caveat is that they will dry differently on your skin than mine. Some of our skin have propensities to take on very sweet roses and jack. Our top notes of melon and bergamot. Bergamot is a type of orange, very citrusy. Our mid notes, pineapple, another type of hardcore fruity citrus sugariness, and amber. And then in our base notes, we have vanilla and musk. I'll go ahead and we will spray this. Missed it. So close. It's a good thing you weren't sitting over there. Sorry. I would have just maced you in the face. I try not to do that. Now, I'm going to shake out this strip here. And there's a reason for that. I'm not just doing it to look cool. Because quite frankly, I don't think it does. But some people might. I digress. When you spray the fragrance, you're going to get a lot of alcohol. They call it alcohol burn. These fragrances have more alcohol concentration in them than anything you can buy in a liquor store, higher than moonshine. So, some fragrances that are new, right from distilleries, they might have a stronger alcohol burn. When they sit, something called maceration happens. No, I didn't say a bad word. Maceration. And sometimes it can dissipate that alcohol burn. Other times, it's just the way that it is. Doesn't necessarily indicate something's cheap or expensive. Just depends on how it is. So we want to shake it out. Let it aerate for a second. That alcohol will burn off and we'll be able to smell the fragrance. So, put our nose to it. And right off the bat, you get those top notes. That sweetness, that melon, that bergamot in the mid notes. I can't necessarily pick up that pineapple. But I do get a little amber. And then I don't smell the base yet because it's still drying. Here, you want to try it? Of course, of course. Yes. Oh, yes. This one has darn near one of the best openers that I have in my collection. Wonderful, fresh, luxurious, and sweet opener. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our strip. We're going to make sure we don't lose this, even though these are labeled. So you can lose these. But we're going to put them right here, right back in this spot. And then we're going to take our strip and put it right then. Why? Because that fragrance, it's going to smell totally different in a few minutes. Mistake that people make. They spray the top, or they spray the fragrance and only get the top. Hey, this is a great fragrance. They buy it. Then it turns into something totally different. I want to make sure that if you are purchasing from me, you know what the dry down's like, right? Okay. Go on to the next one. We have Drakkar. Now, since we have quite a few fragrances here, we're only going to sample what you want to sample. Because after all, these are yours. So, I'm going to leave these with you. When I leave, you can sample them whenever you like. Yes, the same Drakkar from when you were in high school, that's right. So, they came out with a intense version. And intense versions are a little strange. Some cynics might say that a test version is just a way to relaunch the brand, just a way to get more money, because it's really just the same fragrance at the end of the day. Except this is a little bit different, and that this is an eau de parfum concentration. Do you know what that means? No problem. You're not alone. Fragrances, in that alcohol we discussed, they have oil, and that oil, very similar to essential oils and those diffusers that you see. Well, the concentration refers to the amount of oil that's put in the alcohol. So, if you have a lower concentration, it's going to be much lighter. It's going to not project as much, and it's going to wash away and dissipate very quickly. There are 5 main, I hesitate to say 5 main concentrations. The lowest is going to be called the eau de cologne. And of course, this is all French. The eau de cologne is going to be your lowest that most people make. Very light, I believe, somewhere around 5% alcohol or oil to alcohol. And then you have an eau de toilette, and the eau de toilette, or the EDT, is going to be probably your most common. And in this case, the Drakkar that you know is an EDT. Now, all the rage right now is an eau de parfum. An eau de parfum is more like 15%. And of course, I don't know exactly what it is, because every house is going to be different. Then you have a parfum concentration, and then after that, you have sort of the highest level that you see commonly. You do have your body oils and whatnot that are higher, but the last one is going to be your extrait de parfum. And you can tell how much oil is in a fragrance when you spray your skin. Next time you have 2 fragrances, 2 different concentrations, spray one here, spray one here, watch it dry, and you will notice that you will see a difference in the oil that stays on your hands. That is the difference. So, since you've already tried this, I'll let you try it on your own time, right? When you don't have me lurking around. But that is the main difference between the Drakkar you know and that one. This one is an EDP, an eau de parfum. Next, sometimes we get these from one of our partner shops called Fragrance Net or fragrance.com, and this is one of those that we have. This is an EDT, and this is exceptional because you are. Now, this one does not have a spray. This is a dabber, and like I was saying, coupon inside, so I'll leave that with you. Not my favorite fragrance, but one thing I know is that everybody has slightly different tastes, so you might love that one. Next we have Haute V, and this, like many other fragrances, was made in France. And this is another eau de parfum from our friends at fragrance.com. So, please do let me know what you think of these. I'm always interested to get last one, and actually perfect timing, because this next fragrance is that other concentration that I told you about, the Parfum concentration. And this is from the House of Armani, and this is Armani Code. There are a couple houses that very expensive, and part of how they make themselves very expensive is they don't make a lot of product, and they don't work with third parties. One of those brands is Chanel. Chanel, oftentimes you have to get from Chanel itself, and it's very difficult to find secondhand or on the market. The second one is Armani. Armani, actually, you get better deals even going to Armani, because, well, they tell me over at Sense Emporium that I can't offer discounts, but they do. So, a little bit shady. But this one right here is the Armani Code Parfum. And Armani, like so many of the other houses, have also started using refillable bottles. So let's spray Armani Code, and we'll see what you think. Of course, we do the shake. So this is much more of a spicy, something that they call aromatic, masculine type of fragrance. See what you think. Yeah, it's kind of how I personally describe it to be a little bit soapy. There's kind of a quintessential bergamot, cedar, patchouli kind of concoction that finds its way in, well, just about every men's body wash. And wouldn't you know, it also finds its way in men's fragrances as well. So, soapy, masculine, woodsy. What do you think? It's very different. Oh, I will give you that. And I know you said that you like the first one, so a little bit more of that fruitiness, kind of sugariness. Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, this, even if you don't like it, it's staying with you, right? That's your sample. So let's go back though, and let me show you what I mean by Citizen Jack. It's very fruity in the opener, right? Now smell it. Yeah, it's evolved. Now you get almost nothing but that pineapple, and yeah, it totally changes. So 100%. Yeah. So okay, so those were my free samplers, but I do have some tester bottles here I want to show you as well. And let's just start off with one of our best-selling design houses, and this design house is called Montblanc, and this is the first one. This is a fragrance called Individuel. Not individual, individuel. There's an E. I don't know why. But we have mint and bergamot in the top, floral, lavender and geranium in the mids, and then a sandalwood and vanilla in the base. And there's kind of a distinct sort of chocolatiness to this one. You'll see. There we go. And yes, so it's just a phenomenal note. And it's a good way to get in some florals without it getting bitter, because it can get bitter really quick, just like people, right? Great fragrance. Let me show you its brother. This is Starwalker. Yes, like Skywalker. Fun fact. Did you know that George Lucas, when he was making Star Wars, actually wanted their name to be Star Killer? True story. And then Skywalker was the final product. So, this is Starwalker, pink pepper and star anise, sandalwood, cedarwood, amber, and musk. A little bit more rich, a little bit more complex, and a little bit more something. Yeah. No, not for you. That's no problem. Mont Blanc is kind of an intro to specialized fragrances. It's not your Axe body spray or your Curve by Claiborne. You know, it has its own thing going on, and I, for one, really don't like pink pepper, so I'm kind of with you on that one. But I do have one more. I have one more Mont Blanc to show you, and this one is actually one of the favorites on the Mont Blanc line. And Mont Blanc actually had a whole series of something called Legend, Mont Blanc Legend, and this was the first of its kind, and this is the EDP, the Eau de Parfum, like the intense version. And this is exactly what they did with this. They relaunched it as an EDP, and this is what we have to show for it. It has violet leaf and bergamot in the opener, wood accord and jasmine in the mids, and leather and oak in the base. So always has kind of earthy something or another in the base. Just shedding all over the place. Sorry about that. Like a golden retriever. Okay. Alright. Yeah, so I think this has a phenomenal opener, but you tell me what you think. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, it's not for everybody, certainly. The thing that I think will make you think twice maybe towards the end is the leather. And leather is just one of those notes. You call them notes, the individual, ingredients of the fragrance. It's one of those notes that people really don't like or people love, and there's not that many that feel just neutral about it. So maybe you're picking up on that. Next. So from the house of Versace, we have definitely their most popular line, and this line is called Eros, and this is the second one that they put out, and this is Eros Flame. And of course, I don't really like what they do with their bottles. They just slap tester on it instead of putting like the notes. I'd rather have the notes than a big old ugly tester on there. But beautiful atomizer, and let me show you a little bit. Oh yeah, I know, it's really good, right? So let me show you a little bit. Look how cool that bottle is. It's got that beautiful beautiful sort of Versace, and then it has this really cool back pattern. I just find that so cool. But anyways, so right off the bat, you get just sort of this bitter fruit and almost this sort of rose kind of floral bitterness to it right there, Woody. Yeah. It's okay. Just sit down when you're done. It makes me excited too. So good. Now, Eros, kind of a weird line because they make it appear to be like a party fragrance, but I think that kind of does a disservice. I know people say it's like the clubbing fragrance and whatnot, but it's just a good fragrance. Just some bitter fruit, floral, sugary, sweet vibes. Yeah, well, I have a feeling I might be seeing you later on for that one. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And then my last tester here is actually a discontinued fragrance, and it's one of the best, but I still carry it with me because I have a bit of a stock inventory. Still have a couple more left, but it's one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites, and this is from the house of Armani again, and this is Acqua di Gio Profumo. This is the tester, and as you can see, it's very simple. Marine notes, frankincense, and patchouli. Now, the reason why I say this is simple is because the original Acqua di Gio had 25 to 30 notes in it, and it was anything but simple. But you see this as you go from EDT, EDP to Parfum. They have fewer ingredients, fewer notes. And I think it's because as the concentration gets higher, they can't include all of those notes. It would just be a little overwhelming, so they do a little bit less. So here we go. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, perfection in a bottle. Beautiful. Oh yeah. Now this is like when you smell Acqua di Gio and then you smell Profumo, you're like, Acqua di Gio, pour home. The EDT is like child, like little boy. And then you smell Profumo and you're like, excuse my language, that's a grown ass man right there. Like it is deep, it is rich, it is complex. And you get that frankincense, and you get that patchouli, and you get those woodsy bass notes to make it seem mature. Well, thank you. I feel a little vindicated. I don't know why they discontinued that one either. So no, I see you still bouncing. I don't think I have to ask what your favorite one was, but I'm gonna guess it's Eros Flame. Bing, bing, bing. Should have bought bet some money on that before I guessed then. Yes, wonderful. Well, at Emporium, we have just about everything, and if we don't have it, we can order it. So, we carry colognes, we carry designer fragrances, we carry niche fragrances. No, I don't typically carry a whole lot of niche fragrances on me. The reason why is because niche fragrances are an acquired taste. they're not for everybody, but the people, they call it fragrance community, fragcom, or fraghead. Someone who loves fragrances, they like different, they like complex. And one of our niche houses, I just sold the tester of this because I don't have it here, but I do have the bag, and this is Mancera. It's one of our niche houses, and every Mancera that you get, it's a really cool bag. Like this. You can see it there. And it's got like a little drawstring and everything. Because at the end of the day, these fragrances are meant to be kind of showpieces as well. You could set this up on your drawer, in your bedroom, shoot, throw away the television, just put fragrances on that stand. It's a talking piece. People walk into the living room, hey, you know the score of the game? Nope. But I do know Versace. Just go over, and then just douse them, and then just holster it back up, put it back on the stand. No further questions. Anyways, I'm gonna leave these with you, and inside of the samples is my business card. I want you to go ahead, give me a call anytime. Come down to the store. If we don't have it, I'll order it for you, and I can even ship it right to your doorstep. So, if you will, permit me. What a pleasure it was to meet you. Yes. I do hope I'll see you again. Perhaps soon. I'll show myself out.